gonna clap together again, homie?
No, my one hand has to hold the mic.
All right.
All
Okay,
these
cool.
thud sounds in the
So I'm gonna
background.
do the
Maybe
clapping
I'll
on
slap my
myself.
thigh like they would do back in the day
in fact, let's do
when
that.
you are
Let's do
telling
that.
them nonsense.
Let's do that. Easy Just episode 6. Say what? Ah!
I was way again.
I was like, yes, man, we are here. Yo, girls used to do that. Remember that
An
shit?
ode to all the girls that said no. That was a sign of no. They didn't have to say the words no. They would just slap a thigh. And maybe if you were talking too much, they would just take you and go.
Yeah. Wait a second. Why don't they do that shit anymore? Why don't they slap their thighs anymore?
Slapping thighs is fine, but what about the taking you and?
No. That I never saw. That was
never done
a
to you.
stutter rhyme thing.
Sometimes they would take and go.
That was a stutter rhyme thing.
And guys would get pissed off, eh? Because
I would also get pissed
how
off.
do you disrespect me in a way that I actually, I'm trying to get with you?
And you're like, I also taught la fuck off. Hey, but the things we have to enjoy as men sometimes, just chasing that punani.
Yeah, and you had to enjoy chasing. It's like, I guess it's like a big cat, If a big cat doesn't enjoy chasing, a big cat will never
eat.
Yeah, never eat. Oh, you never eat, man.
Yeah, not saying we are calling you meals, but also nasi snag. Yeah, man. Anyway, welcome to it. This is the Easyjust podcast with myself, Obakeng Moroe, and of course my boy
Kwanandora.
We are out here.
You know what it is. Hello, everybody.
Sutindu, man, back at it again. The thing now, we are still under lockdown, obviously. So, forced detox. This is what this is. Forced detox.
This is not gin.
Juice.
This is water.
Gin and juice. Water and juice. This is what we're doing.
I know people would think I'm an alcoholic if I fill up my glass with this much gin.
Yeah, no shame. You wouldn't make it.
And the way I'm drinking the gin also. Stay hydrated.
As a bliff talk, we don't have a choice. It's not like you got a motherfucking choice. It's not like if you want, unless you're gonna go to both take it or leave it. They're gonna ask like what $700 again for like a bottle of cheap ass gin. January, where you don't even have money. In fact, it's actually fine that we are on alcoholic lockdown because actually, asna mali, guys. So you can't afford to buy alcohol. You can't afford to buy anything anyway.
Yeah.
So couchile, drink your water, obe granty. Social distance, and most importantly, just don't die, man. Jeez.
Yeah, every cloud has a silver lining. That's your silver lining.
I thought every cloud has like water. Can't think there's a silver lining to a cloud. No?
Yeah, there's also a silver lining.
No,
what do you think holds the water in there?
Is it the silver lining?
It's the silver lining.
I just know.
When there's no silver lining, there's rain.
And then it goes up and then it chills there and it's like waits for a day. Next thing. Now the silver lining in clouds.
Yeah, but Bloom people don't really know much about clouds.
Yeah, man. Not every cloud has an iPhone. Yeah, man. But anyway, this has been a very tough week in the country, man. Obviously, everything that we're still facing COVID-19, and we're back on level 3. And what sucks is that now, like as much as the deaths have been happening, and we are really painfully aware of it. Now it's getting very real. Very real where so many people are just passing away, man.
Yeah.
So many people are just passing away. And one of the most significant deaths of this past week, actually, is one very legendary and prolific fashion designer, iconic DJ as well, and one of the very front runners in the South African fashion industry, where we were building our own brands, especially as young black kids coming up and trying to formulate our own identity. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000s, late 90s, coinciding with the career of Zola Mdlwembe. I think very much coinciding with his career, because he was one of the prominent artists that used to. I think he might be one of the big reasons why it blew up, but the big saggy pants with the pockets where if you put your phone inside, it's all the way at your knees.
That one.
He definitely made the label.
You don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about 1D, which is one half of the legendary label Lokshin Culture, man.
A clothing label.
Lokshin Culture, which was big big. It was huge,
Bigger than
huge
huge.
back in the
Bigger
like,
than huge.
Yeah, man. Like, yo,
Bigger than huge.
if you don't know Lokshin culture and you're wondering what we're talking about, you are probably young as fuck.
Yeah.
You are probably a baby. The closest thing you can think of, which was like maybe the first South African label, is like Ama Keep Keep. So this predates Ama Keep Keep. This predates
Ama Keep Keep, and this was bigger than Ama Keep Keep.
Much.
Like Ama Keep Keep is very niche. Lokshin culture was something you would find on somebody as a garment.
Yep.
As lalini, a town,
wherever, homie, wherever,
in a taxi, in a factory,
everywhere.
And what was also really magnificent about them, I think, is that they made. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like these woolen kind of hats. Almost like the kinds. They just cover like just your head in J.
Oh,
and they would come on almost like a cap on your head.
Yeah, but I
almost like a durag, but a woolen one without like the
Mawili's hat, man. The Mawili's hat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Mawili's, every time you wear that, he goes, go. You always had that.
They made that popular. So it wasn't even a matter of you just liking the label. It was a very stylistic and original element to the label.
There's a lot of stuff that they made popular. They had these the by Islam, but those big jackets as well.
Yeah.
They had that. They had
nicely
the shoes.
colored jackets.
I wasn't a big fan of their shoes. The shoes, like I know, but the
you know what? They could never. The problem is, the shoes. The how can I say? They would have to take out the popularity of All Stars in order for their shoes to get
and also
traction.
at that time, All Stars and
you just can't. You pansula. You look at pansula and now All Star just doesn't make sense.
You can't. You're not
you can't be a pansula without All Stars. So, but you could have All Stars on your feet and Lokshin culture all the way up.
And that's one label that was endorsed by literally like everyone, man. Especially in the music industry, everyone.
Would you attribute, Obakeng, sorry, before you continue that, would you attribute the fusion of hip hop influence into Kwaito to Lokshin culture in a big part?
Yeah, completely.
Completely.
They kind of the beat was the same. They kind of followed the same sort of strategy that your Fat Farms and your Fubus and all of them did with hip hop. They just did it with Kwaito. But also it like even that style of dress was very hip hop centric, if you remember correctly.
Because it was baggy pants. That's exactly why I say so. Baggy pants, big pockets. It definitely had a hip hop influence. But having collaborated so much with Abo YFM and those kind of influences meant that you had to take on the sub bass, which was Kwaito, which was the most popular. I mean, like even Uzola also did that, I think, a lot with his music, in that his music was obviously Kwaito, but with a very strong hip hop influence. Maybe the strongest we'd seen at that time.
Yeah.
And maybe the only strongest after that, if you ask me, was maybe Umapaputz.
Yeah, Mapaputz was definitely. But yeah, man, and also like if you think about like black urban wear at the time, streetwear at the time.
What else was there actually?
No, there wasn't much. But obviously, like, regardless if you were hip hop or not, mostly it looked. I mean, if you were Kwaito or not, if you were Kwaito fan or whatever, mostly it resembled. It was hip hop wear. You know what I mean? At the time, if you think about it.
I'm just trying to follow you. So you're saying the dress sense at the time mostly resembled
the
hip-hop.
dress sense at the time was mostly because we all kind of looked outside of, not necessarily outside.
But Amapansula?
Amapansula, you did get characters that were different, like your Alaskas, your Trompis that had a different.
But wouldn't you say they were the general dress?
Not necessarily, no. Not to a degree, but I mean, if you think about maybe this is before TKZ and everything, but if you think about Ozola, they didn't necessarily dress like Amapansula and all that.
But Ozola is very new in the newish. You know what I'm saying? But everybody else. So that's why I say like the hip hop influence came in with Uzola and Amapaputs, but everybody else
was still
kind of was very much all stars on their feet and Dickies
and
kind of vibe.
Also, like that, I'd look at that as well, but maybe we also took it in a South African sense. But I look at that as well, and I look at how like your West Coast gangster rappers used to dress up like your.
Oh, what a good point to
what I'm
make,
saying?
because they would dress in Dickies and
Dickies
All
and All
Stars
Stars and
too.
everything. So a lot of what the dress code looked like, even if it
Was
was
actually hip
Kwaito,
hop
was
in the
very
first
much
place.
hip hop, in very much taken from the
Wow,
beat
man,
of
you
hip
just
hop.
shifted a paradigm in my
know what I
head
mean?
because I'd always seen Ubupantsula as being super original. And I mean, of course it is. Of course it is. Of course it is. But I had never associated the West Coast dress sense, which is, khakis and All
And All
Stars,
Stars, yeah.
and likening and mapping that to
Mapping, yeah.
Ubupantsula, because there's obviously a connection there.
There's definitely, it's just that when it came over this side, or when we decided to wear it how we wear it this side, we made it very South African, and it had kind of different characters that wore that.
Whew.
You know what I mean?
But yes, when you think about it, if you think of that Snoop Dogg video, Snoop Dogg, just imagine Snoop Dogg in the blue checkered shirt and his Dickies. You tell me he doesn't just need to sporty to be speaking.
Done.
All he needs is a sport.
Man, even that, like, All Stars, Dickies, checked shirt, and braided hair. That was basically how
Speaking of Snoop Dogg.
dressed. That's kind of Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. But
It's very interesting. Thank you for that. You just dropped a gem on me.
that's what we do, fam. That's what we
Yeah,
do. But
yeah.
rest in peace to Wandi of Lokshin Culture.
What was his
man.
surname? Do you know what his surname was?
No. It is all over Twitter, but I just knew him as Wandi. And the other guy was Chab. I'm Lokshin Culture, like Chaba, Wandi knows Chaba.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, definitely iconic. Was a DJ too, went by DJ 1D, the number one and the letter D. Did amazing things. I heard Loot Love on Metro FM talking about him the other day, saying he was very instrumental in her come up.
I was always so hurt by how Lokshin culture was not that it basically died. It's one of those things that definitely shouldn't have died.
Definitely, I agree
Definitely one of those things that we shouldn't have let it die.
at all.
Because it was a huge part of our culture, a huge part of our identity, and really a way in which we permeated our creativity and and our zest and our love for our art and what young people could produce. I mean, the fact that election culture, everybody was wearing it, man, and it was designed by young people for young people, is exactly the kind of things we needed in terms of building a nation. We were building a nation at that time, and that was a perfect example of there should have been just multiplied versions of election culture.
But
we shouldn't have let it die.
Yeah, but but post that though, man, I think Lokshin culture, much as it did kind of die as a brand, it made it possible for all the other brands that came after, because there's so many that came.
Tell me about those brands that came after it, bro.
There's a lot. There's a lot of like South African brands that like Head Honcho was a thing. I'ma keep and them were born. There's so many, man. Like. I can't think of a lot of them right now.
But here's, I agree with you, but Head Honcho, I'ma keep, these were all like almost niche. And I understand that when it comes to fashion, you're going to have niche stuff for it to become popular. But Lokshin culture just had this magic that everybody identified with it across the economic stratosphere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from rich guys to guys in taxis to guys who, because it was also so affordable.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
That's also that.
So
but
there's
but
something
but
very
you should,
special
you should
about
remember,
not
you
being
should remember
niche.
also at the time when it came out, and the superstars that wore the label, because I mean obviously it kind of used the influencer model.
Yeah.
This is what influencers before influencers.
Risky influencer model though.
Yeah, true. But what I'm saying is that
it's not like they used them do.
No. But what I'm saying, like, who are the people that were wearing? Because I can't remember. Exactly.
They used Uzol. I remember vividly. I remember even Scomplas vividly. I can't think of anybody else that I knew was like an ambassador for the clothes.
So what I'm getting to is, remember,
but they were bigger artists at the time.
No. What I'm saying is this: the artists that were associated with it at the time were probably some of the biggest superstars in terms of young urban, like young black people. You know what I'm saying? At the time, they were huge. So the influence could be bigger. Because the the industry wasn't as fragmented as it is now, where you having so many. Kwaito was at the time the biggest music genre
Sure.
for young people. That was it, and everybody, all of us identified with it, even if you were a little bit skewing to the hip
But
hop side.
Zola wasn't the biggest star then.
But he still represented the music.
He represented everyone.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
And and I think Zola at the time, like, I don't think it was
come out of acting.
Yeah, but it was easy to it was not easy to not like Zola. You know what I'm saying?
You mean because, like as everybody?
Yeah, everybody loved Zola. Most people. It was difficult to find somebody who wasn't a Zola fan.
Because this was Zola before Zola 7, hey?
Yeah,
this was the Zola
this
that would
isn't
take
Zola.
This was the Zola that took a spade because niggas wanted to rob him.
Yeah.
And showed them with their last spawn.
Yeah.
That's the Zola.
But the music Kwaito at the time was probably the most influential, and it was at a turning point where it was kind of cementing its ground.
Oh, but I guess a lot of things died at that time. Remember that label also Mecca? Mecca used to always have the back advert on the Y-Mag, and they'd have the dopest sneakers on there.
Was it a South African brand?
No, it wasn't South African brand. It was like more like Echo, like it wasn't international, but it was like a hip hopish kind of brand.
We don't recognize it here. I'm only interested in South African ones right now.
No, I'm just saying. They died too, you know, and they were bigger.
Yeah, but much as it did die, because it kind of lived on in like that high fashion niche world. Kind of still lived on.
Really?
I remember,
you mean like lately?
Yeah, I remember going to some fashion show where Loction Culture was actually in the space.
Like it was on a stoned cherry kind of vibe.
Type of vibe, you know? But regardless of what happened to it, I still attribute its what am I trying to say? Attribute it to opening up doors for other South African brands, to sort of prove that South African brands made here for our people can succeed. Because had it not been for labels like a Loction Culture, we wouldn't have had your Stone Cherries. We wouldn't even have like Omakhosa and all of these things, because they prove that in this country we don't always have to wear international labels. We don't always have to wear. We can support and wear, and they made it possible. You know what I'm saying? So big up to them for actually doing that all those years ago, 20-something years ago.
Jesus,
and then
man.
It's and then rest in peace 1D, man. Rest in peace to him.
So
I got to see him once in my life.
So they're probably still carrying on, but they're carrying on like on the niche level of fashion.
Yeah. I don't even know what this Chaba looks like, because 1D was always kind of the mouthpiece of the.
Okay. Man, what I would do for any like Loction Culture piece of clothing, just to keep it now as almost like an artifact.
Yeah, man. And talking about people that passed away from COVID-19, we have the legendary also Sam Phillips. I don't know if you know him.
The R&B singer from...
Aye, man.
You mean the gay British R&B singer? He's so young. How could he have died?
Put some respect on Papa Sam's name.
I'm just joking. I'm just playing.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Papa Sam was in so many South African movies, plays. I'm not sure if he was a playwright as well, but he could have been. He was in this other series.
Zone 14.
No. He was in another series that I can't remember the name now, where he was leader of a Basotho gang called Marashi. Yeah, he's also in the latest. I think it was his last project, Kings of Joburg, that was done by the Fergusons. Can't remember a lot of what he's done, but he's done it like, man, he's one of those South African faces that has been on our screens since Mzowani, since back in the day. You know what I mean? Since way. Yeah. And he's always played very, very significant, like very leadership roles.
Yeah.
And he was incredibly funny. He feels like one of those.
What's your favorite scene? Even if you don't have, even if you don't remember the show or what it was titled, what it was called, but what is your happy memory of him?
I like seeing him in that series. What's in the show?
Marashi.
Yalla. Yes, that's the thing. Yalla Koto.
Oh, was that what it was called?
Yeah, it was called Yalla. And yeah, it basically revolved around. I could be wrong here, but it revolved around like gangsterism around the mines and everything. It was shot in the Free State, if I remember correctly, in Velkom.
Man, I'd love to.
And
I'd love to watch that.
He was in there, and he was like, he always scolded people. Like every time he was
he's
telling somebody off. He's telling some niggas some shit. You know what I mean? And very convincing in his roles, man. You know, it's seasoned actors. It's always great to see seasoned actors who know what they're doing, who've had proper training, who've been, you know, who has theater backgrounds.
Yeah.
When they get on screen, it's just natural for them to do.
Yeah.
Like think of like the likes of John Khan. He was on that level in terms of his acting skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not John Khan is a beast.
So that's Papa Sam Phillips for you. That Sam was on those levels. You know what I mean? In terms of acting and everything else. So he passed away, and I don't know if it's COVID. I didn't dig that far into the story. But yeah, man, this year is just devouring people. Like this disease is just devouring people. So yeah, rest in peace to Sam Phillips. May he rest in peace as well. You know what I mean? Yeah, just make sure you social distance, guys.
Was he on Lesilo?
No, you are thinking about Ray Twana.
No. I was just gonna say because Lesilo, they're gonna make a remake. I think.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I can't wait for that, man. I'm watching. I'm watching.
I used to love Lesilo, though I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah, because
but I knew that cookie spoke.
Oh, Sagir.
All I'm waiting for is when he spoke again.
Spoke again.
Spook.
Would you guys call it spoke?
Spoke. Yeah. So I was like, I'm just waiting for this pork. I'm just waiting for this pork. And I knew when that nigga blows on his bone or whatever it was, so very pork. But I used to be hella scared of.
Man. Dude, Lesilo was funny as fuck though. Like if you watch it now
it would be hilarious now. No?
It's hilarious because I think it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was Khosong Khatu that was wearing the costume and sometimes he'd come out of the grave. I can't really Lesilo was
yeah. He was in the grave.
He'd come out of the grave and the stones would move. Next thing when he's out, he stretches his back. He's on some.
He's been laying for a long time. So what was the deal with Lesilo? Was like, what was the story like? Because obviously I didn't understand all of those things. I just knew that this nigga can call on a ghost to help him or something.
Yeah, no.
But what was the vibe? How come he could call on this ghost?
Well, man, I can't remember the storyline correctly, but I think what happened is he was a somebody that was kind of terrorized in the community that he was living in. You know,
the ghost.
No. I don't know where Lesilo comes from. I think Lesilo was probably like his friend that died, but then he had some kind of powers to keep him alive, and then he could do his bidding. I don't know. I can't remember. But I know like Ray Twana was terrorized
in his
neighborhood or something. So from all of that, he had enemies. You know what I mean? Yeah. For some odd reason, I stand to be corrected here, but he had enemies in that community, and then he used Lesilo to like settle scores, and now he became kind of powerful and became like this witch guy. You know what I mean? And then next thing he would use Lesilo to like do his evil biddings and go against people and stuff like that.
It was quite a strange show because I don't quite remember Lesilo actively doing anything except scaring people.
Yeah, he didn't kill anyone. He just scared people. That's how I felt. It's just like
exactly. All he would do is scare people, and they would run off. But somehow, this nigga had a whole seasons and seasons and seasons.
Yeah, man. And to think this thing actually, like, it was filmed in the 80s, stopped in like 1989 or whatever.
Tell me now, was there another show that also had like a demon or like a Sporo kind of thing, but not Lesilo?
Yes.
Because I remember another one that scared me, but that wasn't Lesilo. Did this guy had like, did he have like Coolio kind of hairstyle?
I can't remember very well. Shit, this thing stopped recording. But anyway, we're gonna bring it back.
Because I remember another scary one. What is it with Sutu people and like scary series? Because that one was also a Sutu one, I'm pretty sure. Because I don't remember the plot.
I can't remember. I just remember this one. Yeah, it was Santi Disapo. I can't remember the.
I have a scene in my head of a guy spinning.
Yeah.
Spinning and like he's scary looking and he's transforming into this scary
thing. Other thing. Yeah. There was that as well. Kind of which one? There was another scary one, man. There were quite a few of them.
It's so interesting, my memories of that time television, because that was on SABC2 for the most part. Sutu stuff and African stuff would be on SABC2. And I remember watching, I understand both languages on the same level.
I guess for Nina is like Sutu Tswana is the same thing.
Exactly. Sutu Tswana Afrikaans for me, it is the same. It might as well be Arab. It might as well be Arabic, at least at that time.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd watch Lucky Luke, I'd watch Lesilo and all of that stuff. I was so intrigued because as a child you couldn't understand much, but you can see when somebody's scared, when somebody's happy, when somebody's running, when somebody's angry, and it was enough to entertain me at that time.
Man, but Lesilo was the best, man. Imagine you could do that right now. Who would you call? What would you have? What would you have Lesilo do?
If I had Lesilo powers,
yeah.
It's when I need a day off of work. That is the easiest one.
Lesilo to like go work
when I'm stopped by a traffic officer.
Yes.
Those kind of situations, yeah, where somebody needs to be scared witless.
Somebody owes me money.
Yeah. Lesilo for me would also not be chilling at the grave. He would be chilling in the back seat of my car or in the boot or somewhere, so that when I run into trouble, he doesn't have to do all the stretching and come from far. Whatever.
But remember, man, come on, Lesilo could teleport, man. Lesilo.
Oh, word!
Hey, don't put some respect on Lesilo, my nigga. Put some respect
he
on
could
Lesilo.
teleport,
What's your
I
problem?
see. But
Lesilo did that 90s, 80s teleport. That.
I love the sound effect. Yeah, that's so true.
It's just like appears out of nowhere. Put some respect on Lesilo. He also had like Ushoti. It was a little person. I don't know if I can use the word dwarf these days.
He had like an accomplice.
Yeah, Ray Twana leveled up, man.
Like a Tikoloshe vibe.
Yes, Ray Twana leveled up. At some point he had Lesilo could turn into Shoti, and Shoti would do some weird, like, scare people off.
And Shoti was like an actual person now?
Shoti was an actual person like Lesilo in the form of an actual person. Just doing his bidding, but could like shapeshift
back and
type
forth.
shit. Yeah. So that was what I'm saying, man. Put some respect on Lesilo, boy.
Nah.
Put some respect on Lesilo. He teleported.
He's now up there with Casper.
Yeah.
So Lesilo, you've earned my respect, G.
Lesilo was the one. Lesilo rula mobasui meotlekwana. That's how he called it. Lesilo rula mobasui meotlekwana.
But it also blow, Galo.
You'll blow.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, man. It was really interesting. I think we still good on time for that one. But yeah, man, I can't wait for that show to come because that guy's still alive and he's still acting. He's still like in a lot of
and did you get to see like the trailer? Now I saw it on YouTube, and when I clicked on it, it was like a 2-minute thing that didn't really make sense to me. I could really maybe when one who has better memories and understood what did you feel.
He was in jail. Like
minutes?
I think the last season when they shot the season of Lesilo, Ray Twana was in jail. So now that's why they're starting it from him being in jail.
They're picking it up from there. Don't they know that when you make something 20 years later, maybe you should just do a remake instead of carrying on with the story?
Because nobody else knows. No, they're tailoring for us. They're making it for us. They don't care about the youngins because the youngins now are gonna wonder who's Lesilo. Now they're gonna wonder the backstory. Yeah. They're making it for us. So Jonga, Lesilo, new Lesilo is not for you if you are 24 years old. Or 21. It's not for you. Watch it, but then
watch Casper.
We know the friendly ghost.
Yeah, the friendly ghost Casper. Casper with one S.
Because Lesilo was not friendly at all, man. Lesilo was not friendly at all. Now, we're still good. Something happened though since we are here. There is a Lesilo happening in Uganda.
There's another Lesilo.
There's another Lesilo.
Another Lesilo that doesn't want to let go.
That doesn't want to let go.
Lesilo, aka M7. Yeah.
What's his name?
Lesilo or
the Lesilo of
Museveni.
Of Museveni. Yeah.
Yoweri Museveni. He's the president of Uganda.
Yeah, man. What's going on in Uganda?
Man, Yazi, in Africa we've got this issue where we have, and you know where it comes from? It comes from the African culture of umdomdala. You have to respect, and we see it a lot even in our own families where old people abuse this right. They can do whatever, they can act however, and because umdala, everyone has to listen, and no one can speak against them, especially if you're young. Only other old people can stop bad behavior of old people. So that's very bad because you have a situation in somewhere like Uganda where the president has to do push-ups when he's campaigning.
Push up.
And it is trying to prove to people that he's still able. Because he's ancient.
Wait. Did he do actual push-ups?
He does actual push-ups.
Namanga, boy.
That time, by the time he gets to the 9th push-up, everybody is waiting and thinking, is he gonna die? Is he gonna die? Is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? He actually has to do push-ups when he's campaigning because
what, to prove that he's young? He's
basically
still
basically that's his whole thing. His whole thing is I've brought safety. I'm still able. I've made things nice. I've made things comfortable.
Who is the strategist that was in the office and went like, Museveni?
And did you all the people you can't tell them anything?
Mr. President, you need to prove to these young people that you are still very capable of running this country. What do you suggest? What do you suggest, strategist? Let's show them you are still young. Push-ups.
Dumbest idea
10
because he only does 10. Like if you're young, bro, do 50,
do
son.
50 at least.
Do 50,
Your
son.
presidency is worth 10 push-ups. Futsek,
nyan. Actually, if the presidency, that's a good way to say it. If your presidency is worth 10 push-ups,
Futsek.
So anyway, so this guy, Museveni, decides that he's going to switch off the internet. He's going to switch off all signals, basically load shedding the internet for the whole time. I think it's still not back up properly. I'm in a couple of WhatsApp groups with some Ugandans, and so I've been able to keep up to date with some of the things that I've been able to. No, it's just I've got some friends that are from Uganda, and they're good friends, and so we still keep communication. And the reason I'm in those groups is because I went to to a wedding in Uganda, and so obviously we had these groups for that kind of communication.
Right.
But so it's really bad in that way. And so his opponent, Yoweri Museveni, was a guy called Bobby Wine, and Bobby Wine is Bobby Wine. Bobby Wine.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby, like that thing that you would be drinking if.
Bobby Wine.
Bobby Wine.
Oh, vein.
Yeah, vein.
Oh, okay.
It's
alcohol.
Bobby
exactly. Alcohol. Bobby Sauvignon.
Exactly. That's
Bobby
Bobby
Melot.
Okay, Melot, yeah.
I know.
So he's basically a singer. He's a young guy, and just like many African countries, Uganda is like 70% youth. So 70% of the population is under the age of 35, which means basically. So they'll appeal. Bobby Wine definitely appeals to the masses because he's talking about change. He's talking about young people. His whole thing, his whole manifesto is that he just wants young people to have a voice. And because I think they've severely misrepresented in Parliament as well. Do you remember the video on Trevor Noah's show where there was like a Michael Jackson in Parliament in Uganda?
Yeah.
Do you know why they were fighting?
No.
They were fighting because at that time Museveni wanted to extend. He wanted to change the constitution to make it such that you could be the president beyond a certain age. He wanted to take away the age limit of presidency.
Oh,
Bobby Wine wanted to come do something physically at Parliament when it's being addressed or something, and then they were trying to stop him from getting to Parliament. I don't know what he was going to do to stop this bill being passed or whatever the case was, but basically they were stopping him because he's obviously against that because he was basically the leading opposition. And if this guy then changes the constitution in order for him to stay in power, even though he's past the age limit, means that he can stand for presidency, which is exactly what he did. But when you saw the guy spinning on the table and guys punching and all of that, that was that confusion. So that was young people. Everybody that's wearing like a red hat or like red stuff is like, you can almost think of it as like an EFF of Uganda. So the young people usually have red stuff and it's the party represented by the color red. And then Museveni is the party represented by the color yellow. But he subsequently has won elections, and we don't know whether there was rigging or not.
That's what I was saying. Did he win elections or did he win elections?
I saw pictures of I saw a picture of young people ripping, not ripping, but ripping from somebody's hands, from a soldier's hands, a box which probably was ballots inside. But basically in the group they were saying that it was young people stopping soldiers from stealing ballots, basically. And we don't know how much that has happened because you didn't have social media. One thing that I personally heard Bobby Wine saying on social media or on YouTube, whatever it was, he was saying, use your phones, use your cameras. If we want this to be a just transition, and if we want this to be a just, election, use your phones. This must be documented by everybody with a phone everywhere. But if the government then shuts off the internet, your phone won't really be able to do much. Maybe it can, maybe people can retrospectively show these videos of all the transgressions that were maybe happening. But he's already president. By the time those videos come out, Cyril Ramaphosa is already congratulating Yoweri Museveni.
So basically, the opposite was saying in a very presidential way, Vimba.
Basically.
Vimba with your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But what is the scourge that we have as with African leaders and relinquishing power? Like, is it greed? Where does it come from, and why is it like that?
I think it comes from patronage. I think it's greed. I think more than greed, it's patronage. So I think when somebody becomes powerful, so they take on some position, naturally, they then have people around them. They surround themselves with people whom they trust. They basically surround themselves with patronage. People whom they trust, people whom they can confide in, people they can have secrets with. And then it becomes like a club.
Boys club.
Now, when that happens in that club, it's difficult. Just as it would be if me and you were to start a business, it's difficult to hold your people and your kinship accountable. Mm-hmm. So when that begins to happen, and it happens over like a period from with this guy Museveni's been in power since I think 1986.
He's Mugabeing this whole thing.
Basically, you know what I'm saying? So you can imagine
because if I think
the
about
patronage umbrella and how wide it's been, and how wide that net has been cast since 1986 till now. So it becomes for him almost a way of, I think in his own head, he probably feels he has to cling to power because all of these people around him already have this idea and hold him in some certain perspective, and he has to keep them eating, and so he knows that if he's in power, they get to eat. So it's not just, basically what I'm getting at in a very long way is that people are eating off of him. So he knows that he will have their support. And so he doesn't feel like he is hurting the country on a large scale because all of the people around him are probably eating from him. So he feels like he's doing good.
And the president of Rwanda, how long has he been in thingy for?
Very, very good that you bring up Paul Kagame, who has been the card is saying something.
Ah, shucks. Okay, no, it's running. It's the same problem that we always have, folks. It's this 12-minute thing on the camera. But keep going because we'll just bring it back.
So basically, it's good that you bring up Paul Kagame because he's a very interesting character in contrast to Museveni. So I think they are cordial, if not friends, and I think in that Bush war that won, the sovereignty of Uganda, and at that time it was Museveni fighting against a guy called. Just give me 1 second to remember this guy's name. He was fighting against Obote. General something Obote. Now, this Obote character had come in after another dictator who's very famous that we all love because he was so funny in a way.
Of course. Mugabe.
No, not Mugabe, man. You from Uganda.
Oh, okay.
The one that died in Saudi Arabia.
I know you're talking about.
Played by the guy with the lazy eye.
Yes.
But
Idi Amin.
Idi Amin. So Idi Amin had been casted out, and I think at some point Obote came in, and nobody really liked Obote because Obote was like this crazy madman. I think, I'm sorry, Ugandans, if he wasn't a crazy madman, I'm really sorry. This is just what I remember from what I've read, and I may be remembering it wrong. But anyways...
We're not saying he was a crazy madman. We're just saying bekahlanya nje.
Nje, kancane.
Mara sonke siyahlanya. Yeah, but kancane, but bekahlanya. But yabo. Hey, just... Yeah.
So anyways...
Kancane nje, bekuhlanyo. Hlanyo.
No. So Obote fought a bush war against Museveni. Museveni had the help of Kagame, who then subsequently came to be the leader in Rwanda, and I think in the year 1994-95. So Kagame has been the leader there
since the 90s. Okay, so he's still also another one
he's another old crocker.
On the old crocker that doesn't want to relinquish power, but then he is revered because of what he's
accomplished
in Rwanda.
True.
Which is very different from what Museveni has accomplished, or rather not accomplished, in Uganda.
So yes, it is true that maybe one could say that in just looking at it passively, because none of us are experts, looking at the economy of Rwanda and looking at the economy of Uganda, I would probably say that Rwanda has done better than Uganda. That is
By
true.
far.
By far. And a lot of people would say that. But another thing you have to look at is that in Rwanda, a lot of people also say that there is no opposition. There is no official opposition. And that, when opposition does try to emerge from somewhere, it's stifled and done away with. So birds of the
same feather.
They kind of the same. But I have to say, I like Kagame. I don't like Museveni.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Kagame has achieved, for the most part, you can see it. It's tangible, and you can see the country actually working out for the better. The ways in which he does it, maybe because I don't know much about how he went about getting into the presidency, but also we do know that
Kagame.
Yeah, but also we do know that. But also, again, we do know that, like as I was about to say now, the history of Rwanda is not a very clean one.
Yeah, but whose history is clean?
No one. Nobody's. It's a very painful history, and it was a war-torn country at some point.
Yeah.
But I've heard here and there.
We were too.
Like, to a great degree, I think what I don't know, what had transpired somehow in his leadership is how he did things was not always, for lack of a better phrase, clean. But
Kagame. Yeah. No. Kagame is definitely an enforcer.
Basically, he's out here with wielding power.
Kagame is not the dad doing chores in his house. He is the disciplinarian.
Basically.
In the way I see it. But you know what? So I've been to Kampala and I've been to Kigali. Kigali is the capital of Rwanda. Kampala is the capital of Uganda. People don't even spit out of their mouth in Kigali. It is the most spick and span place you'll ever. But I mean, so there's two perspectives of looking at, a town where there's absolutely no littering. People don't spit, people don't smoke. One can see that as an infringement on people's rights, but at the same time, one might also say you smoking is an infringement on people's rights.
Yeah.
Or you spitting is an infringement on people's rights.
And that's how they start to run it.
But I like what Kagame has done with Rwanda so far. I'm not I'm not Rwandan either, but I feel like when I think of Uganda and I let me rather say, Obakeng, more than policies and anything else, the violence with which Bobi Wine has been met by officials in Uganda makes me not like Museveni. Otherwise, before all of the political violence that is happening in Uganda, I wouldn't say I really had a problem with Museveni, but I think the way that he's handled opposition, which is Bobi Wine, and the things that, because I like Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine. I like him because he's just a young guy trying to have the voice of young people in parliament. And I think that had maybe Museveni approached it differently and just seen him as almost as an ally, because he can't. He's old. Is it a bad thing to have a young person as an ally to make sure that you can hear the voice of young people?
No, because you do need that young voice, and which is something that they don't utilize a lot, and we see it very much in this country as well. My question to you is now, and
it's the same thing here, hey?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the same
between
shit.
the ANC and the EFF. It's the same thing here.
Yeah. So my question to you is now, if you have a leader who is doing well, and I know we have the scourge in Africa where the relinquishing of power is something that doesn't really easily happen. Yeah. But if now you are in a space where you have a great leader, there's very few of them now, especially here, that is doing well and is really changing the country for the better, being fair and all that, all things considered, in a utopian instance, right? Mm-hmm. Would it be wise or
to remove him for the sake of democracy?
Yeah, or to keep him there for the sake of what he's done, or to remove him for the sake of democracy? If you are in a country that maybe has a a battered history and is still struggling with the effects of it. Now you have this person that maybe is trying to change things. Would it be best to keep him there in power for as long because he's the one that maybe knows and is able to control and fix what's happening, or for the sake of democracy, do we carry on the tradition of having, democratically to remove him after 2 terms or whatever?
I don't like democracy.
Okay.
I think democracy is excruciatingly flawed. I think that democracy doesn't work if you don't have an education system that puts people at least on a certain level where they can vote properly.
Okay.
If you have a situation where you've got a population where people can go out and hand out vouchers and people will vote a certain kind of way because vouchers have been handed out, then democracy is not working for your country. A democracy only works if everybody has a good education. Then everybody makes an informed decision to vote. You can't say you have a democracy when half of your population can't make out what policy is being given by this guy and the policy being given by this guy and the policy being given by this guy, and cannot discern the pros and cons of those policies, looking at maybe future trajectories or global trends or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think democracy is not working if it's like that. Point number 1. Point number 2, I think that democracy is also wrong in the sense that you move one leader, you put in another leader, you put in another leader, you put in another leader. Then you have rhetoric like 10 wasted years. 10 wasted years. 10 wasted years.
I can actually see the character that goes and says that. So you can see them.
You know what I'm saying? So why are we switching niggas every 10 years or every 5 years?
And also, is 5 years enough? Even how long is it? 5 years.
Even 10 years is not enough.
5 years enough for a proper reform? Oh shit! This card is full, and I didn't even notice. So
now it's not recording anymore.
No. The audio, we still have the audio. Which we can still. I just don't know when it cut because we were in this.
But in any case, I feel like democracy doesn't work for those 2 reasons. And if you're switching leaders all the time, that means you're switching policy all the time. It means you're switching personnel all the time. How can that possibly be a good idea?
Yeah, because I strongly feel that 4 years. I mean, look, man, it takes you longer than 2 years sometimes to even sink your teeth into a new job anywhere.
Yeah.
Just a normal menial fucking everyday job.
Never mind running a country.
Imagine running a country. Anyway, I think, do you still want to continue this conversation in the next segment, or you are good here?
No, I'm good.
Are you good? All right, cool, man. You're still here. Excuse with the technical difficulty that you are experiencing on your screen.
And we are so beautiful for you to not see us.
Yeah,
we apologize profusely.
Don't worry. We'll take a little screen grab and put it on the screen so you can see how we could have looked to having.
I have a suggestion. Can that screen grab have our faces?
Yeah. I'll make some adjustments. But anyway, you're still here. What do you think you're that pretty to be seen all the time? You think people?
I think so. I've actually had written complaints with people saying that, look, if you guys are gonna put a picture there, at least put your pretty faces on there.
Okay, great. Was she hot?
It was a he.
Was he hot?
Yes. I'm kidding. I had no such message, but we know that message is in your heart.
All right. Easyjust podcast with my man Kwandan Doda, and of course I'm still Obakeng Moroe. Gonna remain that way until I die. You're still here with us on YouTube. See you in the next segment. Please sit, chill, don't switch off your Wi-Fi, and don't skip ad when we get monetized one day. Peace. We'll be back.
Can we finish off today's podcast with a freestyle?
Maybe we can.
But I'll do the beatbox and you do the freestyling.
No. Yes, you are not going to do any of the beatboxing. I can't beatbox though. The beatbox sucks, man. Also, you're blowing shit into my ear. Remember that.
Hey, we gotta find different ways of you saying these things, man.
Yeah, but it doesn't help because you are in my ear. Fuck off. I'm gonna elbow you in the face if you don't stop that shit. I promise you. Fucking asshole. Listen. Yeah, we are back. The Easyjust podcast. Episode 6 coming back. Oh my god. Ah man.
What up, though?
Yeah, we're back in this again. I think I need a different co-host. I'm gonna fire you. Fuck off. So yeah, man. We started with some very heavy Anyana topics and went into a little bit of politics here and there. Also, obviously, spoke about the people that we have lost in the industry, just in South Africa in general, and all that. People that are very well respected. And now, because we are comedians, man, we got to talk about one of the legendary comedians who is probably one of the first to release a a remixed comedy album, a remixed comedy special. That's basically
this is new, no?
Yeah. I don't think it's
nobody's ever done that before.
Yeah, man. Of course, we're talking about a tambourine, motherfucking tambourine. A tambourine, motherfucking tambourine.
Yeah.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah.
Chris Rock released a new special called Total Blackout.
Blackout, yeah.
Blackout?
I think it's Total Blackout.
And Tambourine the
and
remix.
It's supposed to be like the deluxe. You know, it's like the deluxe album
version.
of Tambourine, where he's basically, because Tambourine was quite soft for Chris Rock, eh?
Yeah.
It was divorcee Chris Rock. You know, it was. He's always been a reflective guy, but it was almost like a self-reflective, more than just reflective on just societal stuff.
Yeah. You know what? This is the very first special where I didn't see Chris Rock as funny man, brilliant comedian, funny guy, observant. Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't Chris Rock, man. I didn't see this Chris Rock. You know, the big piece of chicken. Let me tell you something. You want the big piece of chicken. That was not that Chris Rock. You know what I'm saying? What I think Tambourine did.
Oh, but that was like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, right? but also still obvious, and he hasn't released a special in a very long time. You know what I mean? He's been doing movies and all that kind of shit. But what I liked about Tambourine, it's the first special I saw Chris Rock as just human, as Chris Rock. And you kind of got the essence of why he is funny, and why it humanized him to a great degree, because it wasn't as theatrical, but yes, it was still funny and still informative and still had the depth that you expect from, or that you naturally get from a comedian like him. Because now he's not. I mean, he's what, knocking on 50. If he's not 50 already.
They're like Boma 40, at least 47.
Something like that. You know what I'm saying?
How
so
old am I?
a lot of those.
Definitely.
Say what?
If I'm 32, he's definitely knocking on 50.
You know what I'm saying? So if you think about it now, man, he's grown up. You can't necessarily like keep up that energy. I mean, to keep up that whole theatrical energy of what he had done way back when, it's you can't keep doing that. I mean, look at him now, for example. He's in Fargo. You know, he's in the latest season of Fargo.
What's Fargo?
Fargo, it's a series about like gangsterism and whatever that happened in America, blah blah. Anyway, it's a new series, but he's taken on a very serious role in that. You know what I'm saying?
Almost like in New Jack City kind of vibes.
Yeah, but New Jack City was still very kind of animated. A little bit.
But it was a serious role. It was like a comedic role.
Yeah. And most of the time after that, he's had a lot of comedic roles. Now he's put into more quote-unquote dignified role where you see a different side of Chris Rock, because he became one of those guys that it was easy to typecast him because he was always Chris Rock. And he was always going to be Chris Rock. But now it turned it around, and you see a very different side of him, a very human side of him, a very, dare I say, even more talented side of him, because he's actually believable like that, because you see there's a little bit more depth to what we've always known as a Chris Rock. What do you think?
I haven't watched Blackout, but I did watch Tambourine.
Yeah, which is basically...
I enjoyed Tambourine.
Tambourine is Blackout with hidden tracks.
Yeah, basically. No. Blackout is Tambourine.
That's what I meant to say.
Hidden tracks. I specifically enjoyed it. I think specifically because he was talking about relationships. Now, Chris Rock has always kind of had a relationship aspect where he talks about that in a little bit, you know, or he always talks about relations between men and women.
Yes.
in his specials. You know, whether he's talking about the big piece of chicken, whether
Who
he's
tells the biggest lies, men or women?
exactly. But he has tons of content on men and women. But I think this special was especially relevant for me because I felt like a lot of the things that he was saying about relationships were things that I agreed with, and you know, and the kind of mistakes he was talking about were mistakes that I was hoping not to make in my relationship. Yeah, man, a lot of dynamics that he talked about that that resonated with me. Not because they were comedically brilliant, but because they were touching to me in my life in particular. It wouldn't have had the same impact 10 years from now, and maybe 10 years after now or before now. You know, specifically now. So I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was especially funny. I was fine with that because it felt for me like you know, like Jay-Z's album 444.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But in the comedy version.
Yeah,
It was like
it's-
444. It was like there's no
like Fontaine,
get
no
your
good-
hands
no
up.
news is
Yeah,
good
there's
news.
no exactly. There's no it's like you said, no theatricals are not too much. Things are kind of toned down. It's more kind of it's for the I want to say it's for the Chris Rock fans that have grown with him
Yes.
and would have known that he's
Yes.
divorced even before watching the special.
Yeah. Because people
yeah.
want they a lot of people that were criticizing that special want him to keep that old energy,
Watch
that
the
old
niggas.
bigger and blacker. They
you know
still
what I'm
want
saying?
Chris Rock to be that good, and you can't and especially with a medium like comedy, man. Even with music, you can't
Even
keep
with
up that
music.
same energy of 20 years ago when your story changes, because music works. I mean, comedy, if in fact even more so, works differently than
To
music.
Jay-Z,
You know what I'm saying?
niggas want my old shit, buy my
By my
old
old
album.
shit, yeah. Like, okay, kind of. There was another line of his where he's like, "Niggas say they made Hove. Okay, well, make another
Yeah,
Hove."
yeah, exactly.
You know
Make
what I mean?
another Hove.
It's the same thing. You can't. People's stories change. We age. We see things differently. There's different perspectives, and
have
what
to
you're
grow
always
with your
gonna
audience.
get with comedy specifically is a different perspective all the time. You know what I'm saying? A grown perspective. And which is what I feel Chris Rock has done. There's a brilliant moment that he shares, and they have on the special backstage where it's Chappelle, Chris Rock, and another comic.
Oh, I think I saw it. It's in the trailer, ne? Arsenio Hall.
Is it Arsenio? Yes, it is Arsenio, I think.
Arsenio Hall.
And they just like giving each other props. You know what I'm saying?
In the part I saw now, they're talking about Eddie Murphy performing on stage, and Richard Pryor has just come off, and how Richard Pryor went to go sit at the stairs on the stage and watch Eddie
Watching
Murphy
Eddie
perform,
Murphy, yeah.
and then after Eddie performed, they walked off together.
So it's like it's moments like that, man, where you know it made that special very special. To me, I think it has the potential of being a very iconic Chris Rock special later on. Not
Yeah,
now.
it'll age.
It's
well.
gonna age very well. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be the lights and shiny and everything else that we've known from him. It's more a coming of age and an honest piece.
Yeah,
It's an honest piece.
It's an honest
You know what I
piece.
mean? That's what I
It
appreciated
felt
about
to me
it.
like more of a special that he was doing for himself than he was doing for. He probably was doing it for money, somewhat. You know, maybe like the last kick of a dying horse in a sense, in terms of making money. But I feel like it was more of a, in the style that he did it. It was more for himself than it was. Probably most specials actually like that because there's such a reflection of your feeling and your experience.
Yeah.
But I think this one was especially drenched in that. And I mean, it's probably his last one, I would think. You don't think so?
Nah, but I think it's probably in his last one in for a long time, because the way it felt like.
You think he's gonna do another one at like 70?
Yeah, it's probably very possible, man.
Yeah,
It's
guess
very
it is.
possible.
I guess it is.
You know what I mean? It's very possible.
Because if people will pay to go, he will do it.
Yeah. And I mean, Chris Rock is one of those.
Ooh.
He's reached that level now where he can literally disappear for.
Because let me tell you, watching Bill Cosby at 70 was hilarious. There's this stand-up where he's sitting on a chair wearing a red shirt.
I haven't seen any of Bill Cosby's.
Are you like R. Kellying him?
No. I haven't. I just haven't. I've always
Oh.
liked him as an actor. and I found out later on that he was actually a stand-up, but I never really cared much for his stand-up.
Man, let me tell you, I didn't care either. Because for me, he was like the opposite. He was like the opposite of Richard Pryor. And I love Richard Pryor so much, I didn't even bother.
Oh, okay.
But when I went to go watch some of it, it's funny that he makes you laugh in such a different manner than Richard Pryor, but it's still very, very funny, you know, because he doesn't swear most Bill Cosby, and he's very innocent, but he's also another one, and I think maybe that's why I like.
He just roofies women. That's all.
He talks about relationships a lot, though. He talks about marriage a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that's why I kind of warmed up to his
He
stuff.
released a
It was
book
very
as well,
funny.
you know. He released a book which my mom actually liked a lot. I bought it for her because she was a big Bill Cosby fan, but his film work. I forgot what it was called. But you know, like he
based on like his family vibes.
His family vibes and all that. He was married like a few times, divorced a few times, like
with that one wife.
I think not this
Camille.
Not Camille. I think he was married a few, like 2 or 3 times before Camille. Camille is the latest wife.
Okay.
So he's been down that road. But
I implore you to watch it, bro. Even if like you watch like a 10-minute, watch one called My Friend Ed.
Okay, I'll check that out.
It's very funny.
But the Chris Rock Blackout is a nice special. It's just tambourine, like you said, just tambourine with hidden features and all of that. But it is a special that I think was necessary and is gonna age well. And the thing stopped working, and I don't know how long ago it was because I haven't been keeping real tabs on time today. You know, but yeah, man. We're gonna come back and expand. There's a whole lot of other things that we still need to talk about on this episode of the Easyjust podcast with my boy Kwanda Ndoda and myself Obakeng Moroe. We'll be back after this current message that you're seeing on screen right now.
But I think maybe we can skip that. I think we have almost enough already. Yeah.
Audio is recording. Video is recording. We'll just put it up on you. Yeah. Ish. Technical issues. Yo, Yazi, the whole time I've noticed, and this is going to be very difficult to edit later.
What?
Because I haven't done a single clap since the first one.
Oh my goodness! You've been supposed to have been clapping the whole time.
Yeah, I was supposed to because it helps with the thing with the editing.
With syncing.
Syncing, but it's cool. You know, where there's a will, there's a way. I'm gonna find a way. Don't worry. But anyway, yeah, we are still here and about to end off our this day of the Easyjust podcast with my friend over here, whose name I just forgot.
Hola. Hola, señor.
Why are you actually looking like the 8th member of Alaska, man? You like the Alaska bus boy?
I'm the guy collecting there.
Yeah, man. Anyway, this has been a very interesting. We spoke about a lot of things today. And the last one was Tambourine, the Tambourine remix, which is a special that I do.
Chris Rock. Is he in your top 5?
You know, I don't really have a top 5 comedians per se. Actually, no. I don't really have top 5 comedians, but if I did, he wouldn't be. But also, I just.
For me, Nam, he's like my Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
He's not in my top 5, but he's significant.
Yeah, he's very significant. You know what I mean? I will make sure. Like, if he came to the country, I'll definitely.
You never gave your top 5 last time.
I don't really have. You know what my thing is, man.
Why not?
I really don't pit any people against each other.
Nobody said one is number 1 and number is number 5.
No, I don't know. I just don't know. I appreciate so many people differently. But okay, if I was to have a top 5 with regards to comedians, Pryor, Murphy, Jim Jeffries.
Okay.
Yes, he's fucking funny. Godfrey, obviously.
What about Hook 'em Like a Bass?
Oh, Andrew Schultz. Yeah, definitely Andrew Schultz. And these are like I'm talking with regard to people whom I love and respect now. And of
it's
course,
okay, man. A top 5. If I ask you, if after you drive me home, if I'd ask you at home, you'd have a different.
I'd have a different topic. But that's the thing. Even when it comes
it's always an interesting snapshot though, because I definitely did not expect Jim Jeffries in there.
You know what?
I love him now, by the way.
You know, it's very because he's a recent discovery. He's a recent discovery, but I just love he reminds me of like Doug Stanhope or something. You know what I mean?
I don't know this Doug Stanhope.
You don't know that. You should check out Doug Stanhope when you get home or when you have time on Netflix. Just check out Doug Stanhope. He's one of the people that I discovered when I started stand-up, because when I started stand-up, I started being very nerdy with stand-up comedy. I started like researching and trying to find out who's who, you know, just listening to random clips, random anything that I could find. And Jim Jeffries was one of those finds that I was like, oh shit, this guy is fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Schultz, same thing. I was just looking for stuff. And then that's how I came across Schultz. So yeah, man. Same thing with when it comes to hip hop. It's very difficult for me to like pick a top 5. Because one, I think I always saw it in that competition lens. I think
I always pick a top 5. Like as soon as I bump into somebody that I feel like is ahead, the first thing I want to ask
is you the top 5.
I actually want to gauge, are you really ahead? Actually,
my top 5 in hip hop would like Most Def will always be one, because he was the one MC whom I was just, like convinced me to even start writing my own shit. You know what I mean? So
now that we're on there, Def.
God, now we're here. Most Def is there, and I don't want to say Most Def is definitely there. Pharaoh Monch is definitely there. Stogie T is definitely there.
All right. I like it.
Whom else can I think of?
Stogie T is Do Me and the Volume. Yes. For those either.
Busta Rhymes is definitely there.
All right, so Busta Rhymes is in his top 4, unlike Chris Rock. Interesting.
Busta Rhymes is there because I love Busta stuff.
One wonders if Busta would be in there if it wasn't for Extinction Level Event 2.
No. Busta would always be there for even the coming to. In fact,
the
reason why Busta is in there is not even for Extinction Level Event 2. Is for
the coming.
No. When Disaster Strikes. That was a fucking amazing album.
Cool.
And whom
number 5
I ended off with as number 5, Lord.
Okay, so that was Most Def, Pharaoh Monch, Stogie T, Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a number 5. Can't think of a number 5.
Not even Fonte doesn't fall in the magic.
Hey man, Fonte does. Like Fonte, I have a very I see him as such a I can expand his talent so much to over even into R&B.
That's okay.
Double HP.
Yeah, we've got 2 South Africans in his top 5 comedy.
Definitely.
It's very interesting that there aren't any South Africans in his top 5 comedy. No, I'm just making. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm just making a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Very nice.
Yeah.
My top 5 of comedy now would probably be, it would be Dave Chappelle.
How did I not mention Chappelle?
Because it changes every time. That's why. I'd have Dave Chappelle. I'd have Richard Pryor. I'd have Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, Mr. Bean.
Yeah. I'd have Louis C.K. And I would have... so I've got Pryor and Chappelle in there. I need to have another black guy. Who would be my third black guy? I think, you know what? I'd put a wild card and I'd put Michael Shea in there.
Shea, man.
Michael Shea.
Yeah.
Because he's...
Fuck. Now I feel like changing my top 5.
You can't. Can't change your top 5.
I feel like changing my top 5 because I love Michael Shea, man.
So good, right?
Shea. Yeah, but also another thing with Che is also a recent discovery. When I dived into thingy stand up, then I discovered you, Michael.
He's really
These are people
nice
that I didn't even.
He's really nice. I really love his work. Okay, and so my top 5 of hip hop would be man, I really want to put most in there too. Hey.
Me deaf operators always.
Look, I would definitely put in MF Doom. That's for sure. I would definitely put in Jay-Z. I can't lie. I definitely put in Nas. I can't lie.
Yeah.
That bravado for me is a lot, man. That bravado is a lot for my confidence, for my motivation. So who's that? MF Doom, Jay-Z, Nas. Man, I'd have to put in Jay Electronica in there.
Jay Elec.
I'd have to put J
You
Electronica.
love your abstract. Your abstract
Yeah, I'd have
MCs.
to put in J Electronica. And then who else would I put in there for number 5? I would have to put in Jesus. I think I might have to put in it's a tough one. Man, I'd have to put in Mos. Most would have to come in at number 5.
Obviously.
Only because he's of all of those guys I put in there, he's the only guy that can also like sing and be, he can give me that Fonte kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man. Like, yeah, most def will always.
A part of me wants to remove between Jay-Z and Nas because they're so similar.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't think
they're not
similar.
too similar, né? But like when you look at this top 5,
Yeah.
if you've got MF Doom, you've got J Electronica, and you've got Mos Def, them two are kind of
Same.
filling up
But
a similar spot.
I could put MF Doom and J Elec.
A part of me would want to take out Nas for Kendrick Lamar, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe no.
I want to have more fun somewhere. I feel like it's missing. My top 5 misses.
But also, you're a very
fun.
serious guy. Although you're a funny
But I see
guy.
I'm not.
You're
I'm a very
guy.
fun, not serious guy.
You're a very funny, serious guy. So that's why you're even your top 5 skews. Funny thing about you mentioned Kendrick Lamar, and I'm thinking about Chappelle now that we were talking about comedy earlier. Chappelle, my respect for Chappelle as a stand-up comedian is actually recent.
Really?
Because how I knew Chappelle as an actor first. So I wasn't aware of
about Blue Streak.
Yeah, Blue Streak, the Dave Chappelle show. That's the first thing I knew about Chappelle, and I watched him extensively on the Chappelle show because I was a big fan of the Chappelle show. And then came the movies that he was in. So I got to really see his stand-up later on. And I saw most of it recently, to be quite like his HBO special that he was wearing the blue.
Killing Him Softly.
I don't know what it's called. I watched that on YouTube maybe like 2 years ago or something.
Woo! But that was fire. You must have been so
fire.
happy, bro, because I would love to not know his work so I could watch it now.
You see what I'm saying, though? So I knew him more. I respected him more. I mean, I knew him from like Men in Tights and stuff. So and then I went back and I watched as much as I fucking could with Chappelle. And then I was like, this is the reason why this motherfucker is so fucking, because now I binged a lot of Chappelle,
So for me that was all university. I think the only comedy I had discovered before university was Chris Rock.
For me,
but as soon as I got to university, we used to have something called Apex DC. Apex DC was like a platform where it was basically a huge LAN network. Basically all the computers on campus.
Okay.
And we'd share movies and all sorts of things. But they got sued. I think the school got sued by Stir Kinnickle.
Obviously.
So they stopped doing that. But let me tell you, the content you could have on there, and I remember watching Pryor on there, live on the Sunset Strip, as well as Richard Pryor live, where he's wearing, the pink shirt.
Pink shirt, yeah.
All of the Dave Chappelle's, Killing Him Softly, For What It's Worth. I think those are the only 2 he did before, like, the recent ones. Yeah, loved it.
Since you're talking about high school, university, when I was studying, one comedian that I felt fucking kept me in stitches, homie.
Cat Williams?
No. Eddie Griffin.
Oh yeah, Eddie.
Eddie Griffin, because I was a big Malcolm and Eddie fan. It was one specific special. I forgot the name, but I know it was released under like No Limit Records and all of that stuff. Because there was a time when No Limit was messing with.
Make him say,
yeah, it was a time when No Limit was messing with comedy, and he does this fucking impression of Prince.
I thought you were gonna say Michael.
He does like Michael and Prince. It is hilarious. That one special, like, it's fucking hilarious. I forgot what it's called, but he's wearing like a long ass jacket and everything. He's one dude. This the recording. He's one dude that I always found insanely hilarious
and energetic, yo.
Very animated and all of that. Love me some Eddie Griffin. I still love him till now, actually, because he has another special on Amazon which I like watching. Enigma. Enigma's latest special on Amazon Prime that I liked watching. Yeah, man. I think we're at the end of the show, right?
Yeah, it was a good way to end it.
Yeah, man, it was a good way.
If you can get a top 5 out of Obakeng for hip hop and comedy, it's definitely a good way to end the show.
Yeah, I don't like yo. I always get and I get asked this question a lot every time somebody like.
And every time it's someone different.
Yeah, I get asked this question a lot, and I just it's always different. But yeah, man. This was the Easyjust podcast.
Next time we'll have a top 5 Kwaito too.
Yes, that we need to do. In fact, we have to start planning our Kwaito show, man, because we promised people a Kwaito show, and we haven't done that.
The problem is we both have Born to Kwaito, and we implore you to please buy that book, Born to Kwaito, and read it. You know, it's really a significant gathering of that culture, and like really just go read it. As a belief. So the problem is, I read it quite a long time ago. I think Obakeng read it quite a long time ago, and a lot of the stuff that we want to talk about is probably in that book, outside from the things that we would know from memory. And before we start saying, I'm sure we don't want to be saying things like that. So we want to have factual things.
Yeah.
And make sure that we have a really good show. So it's just taking us a little bit of time to prepare it.
But we will prepare that show for you, and it's going to be an amazing.
We also want to talk about the economic ramifications and the cultural and economic ramifications of Ikwaito, and not just talk about Mang released this and it was nice.
It has to be much more contextual than
we want to make it like the way that we make all the shows, and that's to be quite informative and maybe a little bit funny, but entertaining, but truthful.
Most definitely. So while you're still here, please remember to share this podcast with as many people as you can. Subscribe. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom there. Leave a comment. Tell us what you liked, didn't like. We only listen to positive comments. If they're negative, we just delete.
Yeah, he's all the way listening to them. I'm reading them.
I'm listening. We're reading. We're all the way there with you. So share, like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share it with your peeps. Let us know what you think. If you have any ideas, whatever, maybe there's some things that you'd like us to talk about or whatever, or anything to your liking, because we ultimately do this for you, but mostly for us, not really for you, but mostly you are somewhere in the picture, but we're kind of doing it for us and trying to earn your favor.
Obakeng also speaks for himself.
But man, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, share, tell people about it. If you enjoyed it, share it, all those nice things, so that we can get popular and be monetized, and then we'll do super chats and start earning money and those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up.
Peace. Peace.
Deuces.